Hello student, welcome to the class of operating system. Up to now, we have discussed many things about memory management, but we are basically concentrate on primary memory. Up to now, whatever we have discussed about the management of primary memory or main memory. Today we are going to study on virtual memory. So, this is the content of today's lecture. First, virtual memory, demand paging, page fault, pure demand paging, hardware support, performance of demand paging, and what happens if there is no free frame. So these are the things those we are going to discuss today. So firstly, we are going to discuss about the virtual memory. So what is it? It is basically a very common part of operating system on desktop computer. The virtual memory is basically, the name implies virtual. Virtual means there is no physical existence of it. No physical existence of it. The virtual memory technique allows users to use more memory for a program than a real memory of a computer. We all discussed that the primary memory size or the main memory size of a computer is not very large. But in a computer, we are going to store multiple memory. In multiple programs. In a computer or in a system, we are going to store multiple programs. So where they are going to store? They cannot be stored in primary memory because the size of primary memory is not permit that. So there must be some place where the things are going to be stored. And whenever we require, that means the program are come in execution, or the program is in execution, it requires to be loaded in the main memory, and then it is coming to the main memory. But before that, it should be located in the virtual memory or secondary storage. Okay, so virtual memory is basically what which is not part of the physical memory, which is the real memory of the computer. So CPU are going to generate a logical address. Okay, so these logical address are basically not located. So they are going to store in the secondary storage. So basically virtual, this is from this figure, you can have a clear idea about virtual memory. So the virtual address is basically the virtual memory address, and those are coming from the secondary storage. And whenever we require, the program is going to start in execution, then they are going to be loaded in the main memory, and they are going to have page frames. So page frames, we have page frame in secondary storage, we have page frame in primary storage also, and there is a mapper which is going to map the address from the secondary storage to the primary storage or physical storage. So basically virtual memory is an imaginary memory which we are assuming. There is no physical existence of virtual memory. You need to remember this. So if we have a material that exceeds your memory, at that time we need to use the concept of virtual memory. It is a temporary memory which is used along with the RAM of the system. When your computer runs out of physical memory, it writes what it needs to remember to the hard disk in a swap file as virtual memory. So basically in hard disks we are going to store. If a computer running Windows require more memory or RAM, then there is installed in the system to run a program, etc. It uses a small section of the hard drive for this purpose. Okay. So the address space and memory space continued. The virtual memory is the address used by the programmer, and the set of such address is called address space. An address in main memory is called a physical address, but here there is no physical address. The set of such locations in main memory is called the memory space. Thus, the memory space consists of the actual main memory locations directly addressing for processing. So here you can see this is the virtual memory. There is a memory map exists between the physical stored memory and virtual memory, and basically where it is going to store in the disk. Okay. So now come to the second topic, that is demand paging. So demand paging means what? Whenever the system demand, then the paging occurs. So bring a page into memory only when it is needed. Otherwise, no. So basically, whenever a page required, whenever for execution of the program, whenever a page is required, the page is going to be loaded in the main memory. It is not loaded previously. Okay. So what is the advantage? Less input output needed, because only the which page is required, that page is loaded in the main memory. So for this reason, for a particular program execution, the memory requirement is very less. The total program is not going to be loaded in the memory. The total process is not going to be loaded. Only the page required, that page, that is basically the portion of the program, is going to be loaded. So response is first, and more user can use at a time because it's required less memory. So page is needed, reference to that. Invalid reference, about it. Not in memory, bring to memory. So these are the steps. Basically, firstly, we need to search if the page is needed. The page that just going to it. If the reference is invalid, that means the address, the disk address is invalid, then abort. If it is not in memory, then bring to memory. Okay, so lazy swapper is used for that. Never swaps a page into memory unless page will be needed. For this reason, this is called lazy swapper. So whenever the page is needed, then only it is going to be loaded in the memory. And swapper that deals with pages is a pager. So this is basically a figure of demand paging. Here you can see this is the logical memory, which is divided into pages, and this is the physical memory, and this is the disk where it is actually stored. So A, B, C, D, here you can see these are the located here. Okay, my virtual memory. And this is the page table. Now suppose we require page A. We require basically page 0. So page 0, it is going to here. This is a valid bit. That means this is not a invalid reference. This is a valid reference, but that means the page is in my memory. This valid means what? This the page is in my memory. So it is located in the here. For C also, it is for page number 2. Okay, the 6 is the location, frame location, and it is also valid. So for page number 5, it is also valid, located in it. But for the other B, then D, A, E, G, H, for these are all set as invalid. That means these pages are not in my memory. So whenever we require these pages, here we are going to encounter an invalid. Invalid means what? The page is not in my memory. So we need to load the page in my memory. Okay. So the page fault, from this figure you can clearly have an idea how the page fault is going to be handled. So here you can see whenever operating system looks at another table if there is a reference to a page, so the first reference, the page will trap to the operating system, then the page fault occur. Okay, then what the operating system do? The operating system looks at another table to decide. So this here it is invalid, so it is aborted. Now they are going to say search for a empty frame. Okay, so if the empty frame is there, then swap that page into that particular frame. Okay, then swap that page from the virtual memory into that particular frame, and then they are going to reset that table. That means this invalid field is going to be set as valid field, and then restart the instruction again. So in this way, if a page fault occur, it is going to be handled. Now the next topic, that is pure demand paging. So we start executing a process with no pages in memory. That means the memory is totally blank. So when the operating system sets instruction pointer to the first pointer instruction of the process, which is on a non-memory resident page, the process immediately falls for the process, and after that what happened, the page is brought into the memory and the process continue to execute. So faulting as necessary until every page that it needed is in memory. At this point it can execute with no more fault. This is pure demand paging. So basically pure demand paging means what? Initially the total memory is blank, there is no page in the memory. So whenever a page is required, that page is coming to the memory, and in such manner whenever a page is required, that page is going to be loaded, and when every required page is loaded in the memory, then there is no page fault. Before that, for every page there will be a page fault. Okay, so this is basically the pure demand paging, where for every pages there will be a page fault. Okay, so this is basically the pure demand paging. This is basically the pure demand page. So it can execute with no more fault. So this is basically the pure demand page. So what is the hardware support we require for implementing all this? The hardware to support demand paging is the same as the hardware for paging and swapping. We required a page table where we are going to store the where we are going to store the corresponding frame number of the field page, and with that we have a valid invalid field. In the valid invalid field, we are going to mark that if the page is there or not. So this table has the ability to mark an entry invalid through a valid invalid bit or a special value of protection bit. So this is must. This is so a page table with that additional entry is must. Okay. Now the secondary memory is required. The memory holds those pages that are not present in the main memory. Otherwise, we are not nowhere we can store those pages. No? So we require that secondary memory. So the secondary memory is usually a high-speed disk. It is known as swap device, and the section of the disk used for this purpose is known as the swap space. So secondary memory is necessary. Okay. Now this is an example by which we can discuss about the performance of the demand page. Okay, so here you can see the page fault rate is greater than 0 and less than 1. So if p equals to 0, that means there is no page fault, and if p equals to 1, that means every reference is a fault. That means if there is no page fault, then the value of p is 0. And if for every page there is a page fault, then it is 1. So the page fault rate are going to lie between somewhere in 0 and 1. Effective access time, how it can be calculated. So if the page fault rate is 5p, so obviously the times whenever we are going to access a page without page fault, it is 1 minus p. So if p is going to represent the page fault, by 1 minus p, what we are going to represent? The access without page fault. So if the access, that means the page is already located in the memory. So we need to access main memory for accessing that page. So this is the rate that how many times we can access memory directly for accessing the page. Now P is denoted the page fault. That means this portion is going to be noted for the page fault. Okay, that means firstly we need to add the page fault overhead. So there are some overhead. From this figure it is clearly mentioned that what are the things we need to do whenever we are going to encounter a page fault. So these are all overhead. Okay, so the page fault overhead is there. Swap page out, this required some time because searching free frame is not enough. This free frame, maybe the free frame is not there, so some page is going to be swapped out, and then only the required page can be swapped in. So we require some time for that, and then we need to restart the total thing. So the total thing is going to be added, and then we have a value that required for the page fault, and then we are going to have the effective access time for the demand paging. Now there is a example. Here you can see the memory access time is 200 nanosecond, and average page fault service time is 8 millisecond. Okay, so the equation can be there for here 1 minus p into 200. This is for the memory access time, plus p, now 8 millisecond. 8 millisecond is basically by adding all these, because page fault service time, this is basically the page fault service time, which is includes page fault overhead, swap page out, swap page in, and restart overhead. So all this time, if we added all this time for this example, we are going to have 8 milliseconds. So 8 millisecond is going to be converted into nanosecond, and then we can have this equation. So from this equation you can know that EAT, that is the effective access time, is directly proportionate to the page fault rate. So if the page fault rate is go higher and higher, then EAT is also going to go higher, and if the page fault rate is going to lower, then obviously if it is zero, so say if the page fault rate is 0, then what will be the EAT? Only the memory access time. But if the page fault is not 0, it's going to be higher and higher with the number of page faults. Okay. So this is basically, so from this equation, this is basically we can understood that the EAT is directly proportionate to the page fault rate. And what happens if there is no free? That I have told that suppose we are searching for a free frame. If you go to this figure again, you can see that wherever we are handling that page fault, there most important thing is what we need to find a free frame. But it may be possible that there is no free frame in the memory. Then we required what? We required page replacement. Okay. So the page replacement is basically what? We need to find some page in memory which is not in use at this time. So we need to swap out that particular page. We need to swap out that particular page, and then we need to swap in the required page in the main memory. This is called page replacement. So if any free frame is not available, then we need required a page replacement. And there are many algorithms available for page replacement, like a FIFO algorithm, optimal page replacement algorithm, LRU. So we need to discuss it, and we are going to discuss it in the next classes. But page replacement is required at that particular time when there is no free frame is available in the main memory. So page replacement is basically what? We required a page to be loaded in the main memory for continuing execution, process required a page loaded into the main memory for continue its execution, but there is no free frame available for that particular process. So then what happened? Then we need to replace a page. So obviously, whenever we are going to replace a page, we need to firstly determine which page is going to be replaced, which page is going to be select for the replacement. So for that, we require some algorithms. So performance want an algorithm which will result in minimum number of page faults. So basically, the performance of that algorithm is going to be measured by which algorithms, by applying which algorithms are going to counter the minimum number of page fault. That algorithm performance is going to be treated as the best. So we are going to search an algorithm such that the page fault rate are going to be minimized. Okay, so in the next class we are going to discuss about those algorithms. So some page may be brought into memory several times. It also be possible that now according to the algorithm, some pages are chooses for the replacement, and then that page is going to be chosen, but that after some time that page again we require, so again that page need to be brought in the memory, and again it can be swapped out, and then after some time again it is required, then again it can be swapped in the main memory. So in this way it is possible that one page can be brought many times. So this is basically the effect of page replacement. So basically in this way, with the so these are the things I want to discuss today. So now we know what is virtual memory. That is a virtual place where we are going to store the programs which cannot be located in the main memory, but whenever required from the virtual space, the pages are going to be loaded in the main memory for its execution. And demand paging is also a very important thing that we have discussed today. With demand paging is basically what? Always we are going to load a page in the main memory when it is needed only. So when the page is in demand, then only the page is going to be loaded. That is basically the demand paging. Okay, and we are also going to we have discussed how the performance of the demand paging can be measured, and we have discussed how if any free frame is not there, then what we are going to do. Okay, so in the next class we are going to discuss about different page replacement algorithm. Up to now, thank you for today's class. Okay, and be safe.